A rumored new Jurassic World video game has been getting a lot of attention over the last couple of days, mainly due to the fact that it's being reported as a, quote, survival horror title that's secretly in development from the same team that made Alien Isolation. Not only that, but apparently the game is going under the working title of The Lost World Jurassic Park, and it features a mercenary described as a gun for hire and has gameplay elements similar to that of a first-person shooter. But is this really something that we can bet money on coming out in the future? Well, for today's video, we're going to be going over the facts and figuring out what to make about all of this info. So, hope you all enjoy as we dive into the possibilities of a new dinosaur-focused survival horror game that just may be on the horizon. Alright guys, now before we go any further, I want to go over one of the last polls that we did on the channel, which actually had a lot to do with The Lost World. I asked you guys what your favorite one-liner was from the second Jurassic Park movie, and it looks like Mommy's Very Angry came out on top, which I'm not surprised by, but Don't Go Into the Long Grass gave it a run for its money. I was thinking about including the line, "The school cut you from the team," but I love The Lost World and I don't even like that, so I figured, yeah, the raptor gymnastics stuff was a bridge too far. Anyways, getting back to the main topic, there's a lot of information coming out on this rumored Jurassic World survival horror game, and I wanted to go down this bit of information to really just give you all the facts and let you all decide what to think of it for yourself. So a few websites are running with this information, going over the fact that Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies aren't really known for their horror elements, and they're kind of more family affair with dinosaur attack scenes or scary elements added into them. And according to an archived post on 4chan, a game called Lost World Jurassic Park is supposed to be coming to next-gen consoles. The post didn't say exactly when the game will release, but it did include some intel that described the game as a first-person horror title where players will take control of a gun for hire, apparently named Joseph Yorick, who's on a mission to recover the secrets of InGen from Isla Nublar. Kinda weird since The Lost World took place on Isla Sorna, but hey, let's roll with it. Some people think it's going to be set before the events of 2015's Jurassic World, and a lot of other people are saying, hey, we probably shouldn't take this too seriously since it's coming from 4chan, and sometimes leaks and information are really not 100% truthful when it comes from places like that. That didn't stop people from running with the story though, and I kinda get why, but I want to go into detail on why I think this is more than likely not going to happen, but it could theoretically happen in the future. Stay with me here. So like I said before, 4chan is just kind of this website where people dump whatever they want, and I really don't think Universal would greenlight a survival horror game for Jurassic World that was called The Lost World Jurassic Park, made by Sega or the people from Alien Isolation, and be set on Isla Nublar with first-person shooter elements. All of that doesn't really make sense to me. That's not to say that some of it isn't true, but there's too many things along with the really bad grammar in some of the other articles that's come out that makes me go, yeah, you know what, red flags. But that being said, I still think it is a very likely possibility that eventually one day we will get a Jurassic World survival horror game. And the reason I say this is because judging from these articles already and judging from what we've seen come out of Jurassic World before in the past, it's pretty obvious that this is something that is really heavy on a lot of people's minds. I mean, if we look at something like the Oculus Quest game Jurassic World Aftermath, or even going back a little bit further with the Jurassic World VR experiences, well, those weren't survival horror, and sometimes they're just like experiences that you go through and look at the dinosaurs as they attack each other and roam about the Isla Nublar island on their own. They definitely have paved the path for people to say, hey, remember Alien Isolation? Remember that was really popular and very iconic when it came out? Why not do that for Jurassic Park? And I think this is the point where I should say, yeah, it's obviously going to happen eventually if people know what they're doing and want to make money. But right now, no, I don't think that there is a game coming out called The Lost World Jurassic Park because it's called The Lost World Jurassic Park. I don't see any reason to believe that they would make a game like that, and I just don't see any reason to believe that it would be a survival horror on Isla Nublar. It's almost like the people that took the time to write out that stuff didn't really watch The Lost World Jurassic Park and figure out where it's set. But anyways, I do think that if we take a look at stuff like Jurassic World Aftermath, you can obviously tell that there is some sort of idea that they should do this in the future. And of course, even if they don't do it, there's tons of evidence of fans desperately wanting a title like this. Look at games like Resident Evil 7, or even the new game Resident Evil 8. Those are titles that are actually really similar to something that I think a lot of people would like, which is a Jurassic Park Trespasser-styled experience, only done with modern game engines and graphics. Going back to the old days in the 1990s when Jurassic Park games were all over the place, there was stuff like Resident Evil from Capcom, which you guys know I'm a pretty big fan of if you've been watching these videos for a while now, but there was also something called Dino Crisis from the same guy that created Resident Evil, Shinji Mikami. And Dino Crisis was pretty gigantic. I've played it before on the channel before in the past, actually around last year's Halloween. I went all the way up to the half point of the game. I described to you guys why it's important to the Jurassic Park fans, why Jurassic Park fans desperately want a game like this, and really why Dino Crisis fans want it back. But there's a very important counter argument to all of that, which is from people that describe the Jurassic Park series, like that article did, as not being centrally horror driven. And I'll be honest with you guys, that they've kind of got a point. Because when it comes to the Jurassic Park movies, and really Michael Crichton's original vision for Jurassic Park, it wasn't supposed to be focused in scares and horrific elements. Crichton actually wrote the book from the point of view of a kid, and they just didn't want that. The publisher was like, nobody wants to read this. You gotta bump it up and make it scary, and that's what he did. But when it came time for Steven Spielberg to make a movie, well, you know, they brought it back into what Crichton kind of wanted it to be in the first place, which was more family driven, and it was scary, but it wasn't like Alien or Predator scary. That being said, there's always been a vocal group of fans that grew up in the 90s, like myself, that veered more towards The Lost World, which was the whole subject matter of this game that is probably not coming out. But The Lost World, man, way more serious than Jurassic Park. It's way more scary than Jurassic Park in places, and it's way more dark, violent, bloody, and it's just a way different beast. A lot of people didn't like that when the movie came out, and there are still people to this day that complain that, hey, yeah, you can take yourself seriously all you want. We're still gonna laugh at your raptor gymnastics because that is just tonal whiplash that makes no sense with the actual plot that's been going on for the last couple hours. And I gotta be honest with you guys, it kind of is a good counter argument, because if you look at Jurassic World, which did have a lot of pretty violent and bloody stuff in it, they took themselves more along the tone of Jurassic Park 1. And it worked out really good. And Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom kind of went to more of a dark and gothic tone, similar to Lost World, only much more like universal horror. It just didn't take itself as seriously, and just like The Lost World, it came out with a lot of mixed reception. Now, still, that doesn't mean that this shouldn't happen, because Universal Studios knows, or at least they should know by now, there is money to be made on this experience. If they would just go with Frontiers, like assets that they've done for Jurassic World Evolution and Evolution 2, and create a first-person RE7 knockoff that's exclusively about a guy with a few trank darts he's got to like keep under his belt really sparingly after raptors and Dilophosaurs and Monolophosaurs and all kinds of other animals out there in a scary setting. Dude, you would make so much money, you wouldn't know what to do with it. And I don't understand why Universal hasn't made that jump yet. They've taken baby steps with stuff like we've mentioned before with Jurassic World Aftermath, but they haven't really committed just yet. And that brings me to my overall thoughts on a dinosaur horror game from Universal, or from anywhere else really. It needs to happen, and I think by now you're seeing a lot of people, not that they don't want more park builders, there are some people that do, but those are people that have nostalgia over 2003's Operation Genesis. And for people like myself, and people like, there's another YouTuber, Tyrannical Simo, he just played Dino Crisis 2 on his channel. What about us? Like, we love that stuff, man. We're really desperately hoping that you give us something that just, okay, I'm gonna pitch something to Universal right now. You're Owen Grady, or maybe you're a nameless mercenary. The whole game can be 30 minutes of just being in the Lockwood Manor with the Indoraptor around that's going to kill you at any given point in time. Base it around the RE7 engine and gameplay. You've got something that would fly off the shelves. People would download it on their PS5s and Xbox Ones and everything else immediately, and it would create a lot of buzz and attention for you guys to make something really concrete and really cool in the future. And I've already told you guys that I'm a huge fan of Dino Crisis. I mean, I played through the first half of the game. I'm a huge fan of Trespasser, even though I'm aware that it was not exactly finished, or good. But as a Jurassic Park fan and as someone that also acknowledges the criticisms and, you know, I see where people are coming from, there's so much money to be made, and there is a chance in the future that this will happen as long as people like me and, you know, other fans just keep on screaming about it. In conclusion, we may get this in the future, but do you guys really think that a game called The Lost World Jurassic Park that's described as a first-person shooter survival horror set on Isla Nublar is going to get made by Alien Isolation game creators in the future? Look, that might be partially true, like that's what they're trying to get some sort of inspiration from, but no, I can't accept that happening. It's from 4chan, a lot of the grammar was wrong in the reporting, and I just don't see it being realistic. Still, if it does happen, I'm going to be there on day one, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will be too. Anyways, I'd like to hear what all of your thoughts are on the subject matter. What do you think about this Lost World Jurassic Park Survival Horror title that's come out and getting rumored? Is it a leak, or is it more like an idea that got leaked and not necessarily a game itself? Which is kind of what I'm going with. Now, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it really means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video and hope that you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.